Empower Black men to live extraordinary lives. Shatter the stereotypes. Power Black men. Power Black men. Shatter the stereotypes. Power Black men to live extraordinary lives. Shatter the stereotypes. Shatter the stereotypes. Power Black men to live extraordinary lives.
Welcome to Shatter the Stereotypes, where the intention is to empower Black men to live extraordinary lives. This show is based on the simple idea that every Black man is capable of creating inner peace, dynamic health, great relationships, and financial abundance. Therefore, we provide insights and strategies to educate, motivate, and inspire Black men to reach their full potential and create the life of their dreams. So if you're ready for some high-octane motivation and inspiration that supports and empowers you to live the life you were born to live, get ready to shatter the stereotypes so you can build a life that lights you up and positively impacts the world. So now, let's shatter the stereotypes with your host, Coach Michael Taylor.
Hello and welcome to Shatter the Stereotypes, where our intention is to empower Black men to live extraordinary lives. You see, there's never been a shortage of Black male role models. There's only been a lack of exposure of those role models. So the intention here is to showcase and highlight Black men who are doing amazing things in the world. And joining me today is a guy who is doing just that. His name is Collin Hardeman. And he's a videographer, he's an executive producer, and the brother's got some skills when it comes to broadcasting. So we're going to talk a little bit about filmmaking and photography and some cool stuff like that. So without further ado, let's welcome Collin to the show. Collin, how you doing today, man?
Doing good. Thank you for having me.
All
really
right.
Appreciate it, Michael.
Really excited to talk about the hop-in platform that you have. But before we do, we're going to just kind of jump in with some icebreaker questions just to let people know a little bit about you. So first of all, tell us where you're from. And just a little bit about growing up. What was that like for you?
I'm born and raised in Austin, Texas. I currently live in Houston. And my childhood I had a really great, fun childhood, just like any typical millennial. Growing up in the 80s, riding bikes, going to the park, having lots of friends. Just really, it really has been a fun journey. I would say, yeah, I just had a really fun childhood.
Nice. Now, so you're from Austin, but I didn't know you were living in Houston. I'm actually in Stafford, Texas, just south of you.
Oh, nice. Yep, I just moved here in the middle of the pandemic, so in late April.
All right. Well, welcome to H-Town.
Thank you. Not my first time living here, but yeah, it's good to be back.
There you go. So, name a woman who's inspired you to be who you are.
My mother.
Okay. Put her name up. What's her name?
Sandra K. Hardeman. She unfortunately passed away in 2010, but the older I get, the more I realize that, how much she has had an influence on my life. She's the reason why I am the way I am, as far as just like my attention to detail and event planning and taking on projects and things like that. Even to just being, I'm just known for being dressy, and people know me for my hats and fedoras and my style and things like that. And I get that from my mom. So it's just like when I was little, I didn't care about any of that stuff, especially as a teen. And she loved to shop, so she would always go to the store shopping for clothes. Nobody asked her to. So she'll come home with just clothes, and I'm playing video games, and she would like interrupt my video game and like, here, come try this on. I'm like, I don't want to, just try it on. Then I try it on, and it's like, oh, this is nice. It's like, see, I told you. Yeah. But she always kept me dressed to the nine and things like that. So she definitely had a great impact on my life.
Nothing like a mother's love, right?
Absolutely.
So name a man that you look up to and admire.
I would say my dad. He's definitely someone I look up to. He's been a provider for our family ever since we was growing up. So we never were without. We always got everything we wanted, and then some. So, I mean, he really provided for the family. He did any and everything for us. And he really is just a man of wisdom that I always look up to, and always has the right answers, whether I'm going through something or have a situation I'm going through. I can always call him, and, you know, he can give me that guidance, that wisdom. And he's a man of God too. So I really appreciate that and
Yeah.
appreciate him.
Yeah. Put Pop's name out there. What's Pop's name?
His name is Cranston Hardeman.
Cranston Hardeman. Hello, Cranston. All right. So name a book that you love and tell me why you love it.
Ooh, kind of put me on the spot now. Let's see. I think I would say Who Moved My Cheese. I can't remember the name of the author and everything right now.
Yeah.
I really like that book because it just really just gives perspective of chasing your goals and chasing your dreams and prioritizing, or what should be prioritized first. Like, what's the most important thing you should pursue, and just having the right mindset and everything. So it's been a while since I've read that book. There's been more books that I've read, but I really can't think of them right now because
Yeah.
the COVID world is just really just kind of just shook my world up. So haven't been reading lately, but you know, that's what we're going to talk about later. But it's just like, I just been involved in so many other things. So
gotcha.
But I definitely want to get back to my books.
So if I gave you a magic wand and you could create anything your heart desired, what would your life look like 10 years from now with that magic wand?
Well, it would definitely be a Black Wall Street. I originally wanted it to be in Austin, but, you know, any place now, but whether that's Houston, Austin, DC, but, you know, just being a part of building a Black Wall Street, that's always been my goal, always been my objective. So if I had a magic wand, there would definitely be a well built out Black Wall Street sitting on 300, 500 acres of land, nothing but Black owned businesses, everything Black you can think of. It's all in that one place. So yeah.
So like a Black Wall Street Wakanda, huh?
Yes, absolutely. And I don't have my Wakanda necklace. I actually have my Wakanda necklace. Paid tribute to the late Chadwick Boseman. So,
oh yeah, that would be awesome. Now, there are some people who are pessimistic about the future, while others are somewhat optimistic. So, where do you fall on the spectrum between optimism and pessimism for the future in general? Where do you fall?
Sheesh. Ooh. Man, I would say that's kind of a difficult question because it really has just been a roller coaster the last 3-4 months. I would say I'm kind of at the borderline, okay. more so on the side of optimistic, because with everything going on with COVID-19, a lot of things have happened. A lot of unfortunate things have happened that we haven't even felt the full blunt fallout from yet. But a lot of great things are happening too. So, you know, it's just both sides for me because of course I hear a lot of people a lot of people I'm close to and everything are being heavily affected by COVID-19, things that I cherish and that, you know, my business was built upon, covering events and things like that, going to South by Southwest, going to Essence, traveling to all these big conventions and expos and conferences, lectureships, things like that. And now those things might be a thing of the past. Like there might not be going back to those. So it's kind of like, because I like interacting with new people. I like meeting new people. I like just the camaraderie that's developed, just the organic relationships that are made just from all these events and everything. So, but on the flip side, a lot of new industries and everything are being created. A lot of pivots are being made, and you know, I follow that spectrum also because just like my things have really taken off with COVID-19 with this new service that we're providing and offering. So I definitely am optimistic because I just see a lot of promise as far as like just offering even more services just in that virtual online aspect. But at the same time, a lot of industries and a lot of things are changing, and who's to know whether it's for the better or for the worse. So it's just like I said, I'm just kind of like riding the line of borderline everything. So definitely taking in the good, but also hearing and feeling a little bit of the bad.
Yeah, I fully understand that. Now, I'd like you to take a moment to introduce Collin the professional. So tell the audience exactly what you do with your business.
So I'm the founder and executive producer of Amazing Media. Amazing Media is a digital production company. We specialize in media coverage of events. We also offer professional video photography, live stream, and now online event management services, advertising and marketing services. We produce original content, so we're going to be producing our own shows and short films and things like that as well in the very near future. But I'm a guy of many hats. Like I said, I'm an executive producer, so just that position, that title alone encompasses so much because I do filmmaking, I'm a videographer, I'm an editor, I do music composition. So it's just like, you know, just going back to what I said, what I got from my mom and everything, just like taking on projects and spearheading projects and things like that. I'm always doing something, I always have something going on, something that I'm working on. But yeah, that's me, the professional me.
Got it. So what were you doing before you became, or you launched your company? What were you doing before?
Just working regular 9 to 5s. You know, this journey for me started at the age of 7. So always had a knack for cameras, always wanted to be on camera, always wanted to be in front of a camera, hold a camera, behind the camera. And, you know, it just eventually just grew over time. And, you know, my parents actually saw that passion that I had. And after my high school graduation, they actually invested in a then expensive $400 high 8 high 8 video cassette camera. And I guess you could say it was like surgically infused to my hand because I took it any and everywhere with me. So I remember just even taking it to the clubs and things like that when I was a teenager, and my friends would look at me like, they would look at me crazy, like, man, why you got a camera? It was just like, I just want to film everything. So that was just me. I just filmed any and everything, not necessarily having an agenda, but it's just the natural storyteller in me. I just like to film things and then go back and watch it later. And then of course it developed, and once I just start adding more to my skill set, actually investing in classes, workshops that taught me TV production, things like that, the local public access channel and things like that. And then when I was hired at Apple Corporate in 2008, that was kind of like when it really just started accelerating, because that's when I was introduced to video editing. So now I had something, now I had a complement to all the footage I shot, rather it just sitting on tapes and me just playing it back and watching it over. Now I can go tell stories and manipulate the footage and put my creative ideas into play by in video editing. So it was just like the missing piece of the puzzle. So they came together and it just,
Perfect.
yeah, exactly. It was a perfect storm.
Perfect. What made you decide that you want to quit your 9 to 5 and do your own thing?
I always had the entrepreneurial spirit. So, you know, I'm glad that we living in this digital time where there's more resources and information available as far as like what people are dealing with. Because back then people were so quick to write things off for what they, you know, weren't. So like people saying you have ADD or you have schizophrenia, things like that. And I'm only mentioning that because I was a class clown in high school. So I was always, my main thing was always making people laugh and, you know, being outlandish, the center of attention and things like that. And, you know, my grades suffered because of that. It's not that I didn't know the work, but it's just that I just chose to entertain my friends and just occupy my time a different way. So in a way, I was just feeling like I wasn't being challenged. The work was easy to me. But like I said, I wasn't applying it to my work and everything. So it got serious for me when, you know, we had a talk with the counselor and they was trying to put me on Ritalin and things like that. And it's just like, I have to have a talk with my parents, just like, hey, look, nothing's wrong with me. I'm just acting out and things like that. And I wasn't really talkative. So they was just glad to see me just come out and just say that. They was just like, well, we was about to put you on some medicine. I was like, I know, that's why I'm speaking up right now. So, but I quickly just righted that ship and everything. And it was the same thing with the workplace. I really couldn't hold down a regular job no longer than maybe 3-4 months. I think the longest job I held down was like maybe 2.5 years, worst years of my life. But I just always had a craving to do something more. I don't like routine. I don't like conforming. I don't like being put in a box. Because I just have this knack and just following my passion and following my heart and doing all those things, following my passion, following my heart has really just made my life tailor-made for me. Especially when I found my passion, when I officially started my business in 2009, which was on my birthday, July 21st, 2009. It really was just more of a calling because, you know, over the years of developing my business and figuring things out and things like that, of course, I always had a 9-to-5 job. And while most people will go home after that 9-to-5, they're tired, they'll go home and go to sleep, and then it'll be the next day, they're just repeating the routine. I would get off from work and then just go to work on my business and work on that for like 5-6 hours because I was that passionate. I loved creating videos and production that much. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's a really powerful point that I want to focus on just a little bit because, you know, a lot of us like yourself, you know, I've got a regular day job, but I'm also an author. I'm also a motivational speaker, radio show host. And I absolutely love what I do. I love doing these videos. I love doing the podcast. I love inspiring Black men. But until I can get that income to match my other income, I'll stay where I am. Mm-hmm. You hear a lot of people say, well, I don't have time. I don't have time to do that. I don't believe there's no such thing as time. Mm-hmm. If your desire is strong enough, exactly, and you're passionate enough, you will make the time.
Exactly.
So like you were saying, I work a regular 9-to-5, but I have big dreams of building my publishing company and my speaking business and so forth. But, you know, a lot of times we'll use that as an excuse. I don't have time. So for all you viewers out there, there's no such thing as not enough time. There's only a lack of desire.
Exactly. Everybody has the same 24 hours.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Everyone. So you see people out here traveling the world, living their best lives and things like that. You got other people complaining about their 9-to-5s, but it's like you both have the same 24 hours.
Right.
So there's different circumstances and things like that, but yeah.
So let me ask you this though. So obviously making that jump from that 9-to-5 to doing your own thing, I'm sure brought up a little fear. So how did you overcome that fear of taking that leap?
For me, this might not apply to everybody, but for me, I don't want to be the person that gets older and says what could have been or what if. So it's just like my bottom line is I want to be happy. I want to be successful. And the definition of successful is different for everybody else. So success to me is being happy, being free. And I am definitely happy right now. I consider myself successful. But yes, it was very nerve-wracking just taking that plunge. And let me try to do this full time. And I have to keep going back and getting a job and getting a job. So it's just like little spurts here, sprinkles here, where it's just like full-time entrepreneur for like a month and then going back to a job, part-time job. 2017, I would say, is when it really started becoming real. I had the perfect job because it was a position specifically made just for me. It was working at a audio, in-house audio music track company. And it came from an internship because I was in school. So one of my requirements to graduate was to do an internship. So That was one of the companies on the list, and it was nothing but music composers and musicians and things like that. So that's like they make their own audio tracks and loops and things like that for houses of worship. So they just added a video component where they needed to shoot videos and things like that. So I literally came in and I was like, I was the expert. They leaned on me heavily. Like, we don't know anything about video editing, like whatever program you need, like whatever I needed, they got. So it's just like, I need a laptop, I need a desktop. I would have a brand new box, brand new computer in front of me in my desk the next day and everything. So it was definitely the perfect job. And you would think like, Collin, wow, you have it all made. You're doing exactly what you want. You work your own hours, not necessarily my own hours. I still have to do 8 hours, but I wasn't committed to a time. As long as I hit 40 hours at the end of the week, whether I came in at 11 or 8 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon, as long as I met those hours at the end of the week, that was the only requirement. But even after that, it was just like after maybe 4 or 5 months, it's just like every other job, that desire to start to wear down and things like that. And at the time I was in a partnership with a business partner, and I was like literally giving my energy to both things. I was thinking I was giving 100% to both sides, but in actuality, I was giving 50% to both. And I almost got to the point of burnout. So really I quit that job, and really that's when I just started that's when it just became serious as far as like entrepreneurship. I did hit another lull in 2018 where I had to go get a part-time job back at Apple. But ever since then, that job terminated August. It was seasonal, so it terminated August of last year. So since August of last year, I've been full-time at this, and I didn't know if my business was going to survive. Like, it was thriving. I was making news and things like that, and making getting reviews and things like that. And then getting service requests everywhere. Then when COVID-19 hit, I really didn't know if my company would survive. And then it was just like a transition just came, and I can't keep up now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I heard, I told you that before we start this interview, but it's just like I had to push back our interview and things like that, because like it's just really just been, it just really just accelerated. Things were already coasting, and then it went from, COVID-19, am I going to survive, to just taking off. Yeah. So it's just like, for entrepreneurs, sometimes a little chaos is what's needed. A little chaos, it could be the missing ingredient, because while I was fearful, and I know I'm all over the place and everything, but it's just like over the years of just dabbling with full-time entrepreneurship, going back to a job, it just made it easier. I gained confidence. And it just got to the point where I was just like, it was just more comfortable for me. So there was no more anxiety. The anxiety stopped going away, because I was just I was starting to get used and acclimated to figuring things out, and things like I was getting a grasp of how everything worked. So it wasn't a hard thing for me to just put all my faith and all my coins in just my business and things like that. So, but now it's just like, it's the best decision I made. Business is doing great. I'm actually hiring more people, and my team is made up of all Black women right now. So it's like I'm providing jobs also. So it's amazing right now.
Yeah, see, and that's a really powerful story that I want all the brothers out there to hear. If you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, there's going to be ups and downs, no question about it. Sometimes you might have to have that side hustle, to help carry you through. But ultimately, you have to have the vision of where you want to end up, and then be willing to do whatever it takes to get there. It's really that simple. You choose, decide, this is my vision, this is my goal, this is what I want to accomplish. Now, for example, me, I love writing books. I'm absolutely passionate about books. My very first book, I had 60 different publishers reject my book. I learned how to become a publisher, because I knew that what I was writing and was so passionate about, it could make an impact on people's lives. So I was willing to start working at a bookstore to learn the publishing industry so that I could launch my own company. So the point, again, is you're going to have ups and downs as an entrepreneur. There's no question about it. But I believe, and Collin, you may attest to this, that every adversity that we overcome or experience actually brings us a gift and a lesson if we're willing to look deeply enough, as long as we're moving in the direction of our vision.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
rest assured that the stuff is going to happen, adversity is going to show up. But when you push through those adversities, every time you overcome an adversity, you go, yeah, okay, I got this. I
That
got
much
this.
better.
You build a confidence, and eventually you'll get there.
Exactly.
So
Yep. Exactly. I concur and I agree. And those that are fearful of what if I fail? What if I fall? That's a part of it.
exactly.
Like that's what's needed. Because it's those failures, it's those falls that you learn from and you perfect things and you get better. And like you said, it's like you again, once you figure it out and you actually overcome an obstacle, it's like you gain that confidence.
Yes.
So, and yeah, there's nothing wrong with working a job too, but it's just like as long as you're still feeding your baby. I always call it your baby, but it's just like a real child. You gotta feed it, you gotta invest in it, you gotta give it time, you gotta work towards it. So yeah, it's after you work a 8-9 hour shift for somebody else, yeah, you're tired and things like that. But it's just like whatever you gotta do, whether that's taking a 30-minute, 45-minute power nap, because that's something I do on a regular basis. I used to fight going to sleep, but studies say that it's actually counterproductive when you force yourself to stay up versus just giving in and just taking a nap, taking a power nap, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours at the most. And you wake up, you're rejuvenated and you just powering through things versus I'm just chugging beer or not beers, but energy drinks or, something like that just to keep me awake. And it's just like, it's counterproductive. But yeah, so if you got to work another job, just look at that job as investing in your baby, because use that paycheck, of course, to pay your bills, but use some of that paycheck to feed your business, your desire.
Right.
And I actually tweeted this yesterday. I said, if people are not willing, oh no, what is it? I thought I had it down, but I said employment is basically essentially someone paying you to do something for them that you won't do for yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. And another way to look at that, from my perspective, I see everything through a spiritual lens. And for me, what happens is every time I overcome an obstacle, it actually builds my faith. It builds my faith in recognizing that there's a power greater than myself that I'm connected to. And as I move through those obstacles and I overcome the challenges, it simply strengthens my resolve and my faith in that which is greater than myself. That's my spiritual lens through which I see it. So you wrote a really interesting article, blog article, and it was titled "Filming Day: Always Plan for Things to Not Go According to Plan," which is really what we're talking about right now. And so I think that's a very valuable lesson. I think that everybody needs to learn because shit happens.
Yeah.
So I want you to just to break down the 3 little steps you talked about. First step you said is breathe. It's not the end of the world. Touch base on that point real quick.
Yeah, so it's just like when things don't go according to our plan, we start panicking, we get flustered, we get all off our, we lose our composure. So it's just like we start panicking and we try to fix things ourselves. So going back to your spiritual reference and everything, is just like we try to take things on all by ourselves rather than just giving them to God. Just like, no, I'm gonna fix this. Okay, this didn't go according to plan, so I'm gonna do this. And it's like you're just digging yourself a deeper hole. So it's just like, no, just take a step back, breathe. And if you do yoga, there's healing and things like that. Even just with breathing, taking the village breaths and things like that, it slows your heart rate. It slows everything down. So that's why people say, hey, just breathe, because it slows everything down. It gives you a calmer spirit. It clears things up for you. So it's just like, it's not the end of the world. It's like something can go according to plan. It's just a redirect. So just redirect, just recompose yourself, come up with an alternative, come up with another plan of action. And I mean, 9 times out of 10, things work out better when you have to do that redirect than just panicking and trying to fix a situation that you have no control over.
Yeah, breathing is so important. Just literally stopping and taking deep breaths and just slowing down the mind, because our mind is usually what's causing most of the chaos anyway.
Mhm.
because we're thinking about everything that's going wrong, and there's all these negative thoughts that are going through our head. And simply taking a moment just to, it's amazing
Yep.
how that will calm you down. And then when you do that and slow your mind down, I can assure you the solutions to your problems will start showing up.
Absolutely.
That's the amazing thing of how the mind works. Now let's talk about number two, which attitude is everything. I really believe that. So touch base on that real quick.
Yeah. So it's just, the whole analogy of glass half full, half empty. So how do you look at life? Like, what lens do you look at life? If you're always being pessimistic or instead of optimistic, there could be different outcomes. I really do believe in talking in your speaking things into existence. So if you're always saying negative things or something bad is going to happen, that's exactly what you're going to get. But if you're seeing the good in everything, you're saying positive things are going to happen. This is happening, but there's still going to be a good outcome. Those blessings will come. So it's just like, where's your attitude? Where's your mindset? Like, how do you look at life? Do you look at it as always half full or half empty? So it really is just all your mind. Like you said, your mind is the most powerful thing. So it can really alter your trajectory. It can really affect your mood throughout the whole entire day. And I know people days are usually, ruined when it starts raining and things like that. And it's just like, well, it's not the rain that's making your mood terrible or making your day just dismal and all that. It's your attitude.
Right.
Like, I get some of the most accomplished when it's raining. I'll still go ride my bike as long as it's not like lightning or hailing or tornadoes or things like that. I was like, I'll ride my bike out in the rain. It really is just like your mindset. So it's not necessarily the things around you or your environment that's holding you down or making things bad. It's your mindset.
Yeah, I read an interesting quote from a guy named George Frazier. George Frazier is a brother who wrote a book called "Success Runs in Our Race," and he's known for networking. He does these amazing networking events for Black folks. Amazing guy. But he said this. He says, "The people who see the glass as half full or half empty miss the most important point." He said, "The real point is the glass is refillable." Which is a really powerful way to look at it.
Yeah.
Really powerful way to look at it. So the last thing you talked about is check your attitude. So what do you mean by checking your attitude?
Yeah, just sometimes you just have to check yourself.
Yeah.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself. No, I'm just kidding. No, but really just check yourself, check your attitude, and what you'll find is that there's an underlying problem. It just forces you to dig deeper, because if you check yourself, you'll find that something that's not even related to what you're currently dealing with or dealing with in the time. It's not even dealing with that. It's just something that's from something else that's happened. It could have been something that's happened that, last week. It could have been an altercation. It could be trauma that you're dealing with. But just checking yourself forces you to face whatever it is that's causing you to feel negative or bad or miserable or whatever your negative attitudes are. It forces you to find what that underlying reason is.
Yeah. And one of the things that I promote a lot on the show is that until we are willing to take 100% responsibility for our lives turning out the way that we want it to, we will always be victims.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have to choose. It's a choice. You have to choose to say, I'm 100% responsible for my life turning out the way that I wanted to. And as soon as you do that, you gain personal power. Because when you can take that attitude, say, I'm responsible, then you're in control of your own destiny.
Yep. And going back to that, I'm sorry, just to check yourself also, it affects everybody's energy is real. So that can affect everybody's attitude around you. So if you don't check yourself and you bringing all that negative energy into a place, that can affect all the people around you. And, energy is real. So people feel that. And if they're feeling these bad vibes coming from you, it's like they're not going to want to be around you. You're just not going to attract positive things that you need. So it's just going to get you further and further into more of a hole. So that's why I say check yourself. Also, not just for your personal self, but just others also.
Yeah, that's an extremely important point, because I believe, this is Michael Taylor's belief, that we do live in a vibrational universe. and everything is energy. So as you're saying, if I'm exuding this negative energy, I'm going to attract more of that to me.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm putting off positive energy, I'm going to attract more of that to me. So checking your
Exactly.
attitude, making sure what vibration you're putting out there is extremely important.
We are
So
energy beings.
absolutely. So let's talk about filmmaking. Now, you're a filmmaker, so I'm curious, first of all, name a movie that you like.
Here we go in the spotlight again.
Because I know that's a slightly different twist from you, but as a filmmaker, I'm sure there's got to be a movie that kind of stands out.
Yeah, there is. It's just like it's just so hard to think about it. Twister is definitely one of my favorite.
Okay. Now,
Twister. I'm sorry, I got distracted by something, but yeah,
is,
Twister is one of my favorite movies.
is that what from a filmmaker's perspective? So when you're watching movies, I'm sure you see movies a little differently as a filmmaker. So
Definitely.
when you're watching the movies, are you going, damn, how'd they pull that off? Or
Yep.
was it the special effects, or what was that? Because I love that movie. I love that movie too.
Yeah, absolutely. The main thing is because I'm a weather nut. So there's many things I should have been. Should have been a meteorologist. I should have been an architect. I should have been a police officer. I should have been an artist. But you know, of course, the best talent or the biggest talent superseded all the others.
Gotcha.
It's just like I really was interested in weather. I know about barometric pressure, instability, clouds, cirrus clouds, cumulonimbus, and you know, I'm a nerd when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I love architecture also. So I love tall buildings, skyscrapers. I could tell you about any tall building in any city in downtown, how many floors, what feet it is, and things like that, statistics. But yeah, it's because first of all, I love weather. And also, yes, I was looking at the production of how they pull this off, how they do the CG. So I'm always watching like the extra features of movies and things like that behind the scenes, how they actually got the fake wind, did the hail and all that kind of stuff, like what actually went to production. And that's just been me, period. So even when I go cover these events like Essence, BET Awards, South by Southwest, it could be Mariah Carey on stage, it could be Dave Chappelle, whoever's on stage. I'm looking at the actual production than the actual talent on the stage because I'm always intrigued and interested how things were configured. Like, wow, how'd they do the stage setup? Or I'll watch the BET Awards on TV and it's just like, wow, look at the stage presentation. I wonder how they did this, fabrication and things like that. So I'm more intrigued with the people behind the scenes that actually set it up and things like that. So yeah, I'm always looking at the actual production versus just the story itself.
Gotcha. Now, I'm a big technology guy, and another reason for my optimism is because of technology. Mm-hmm. Because technology has removed a lot of barriers for, especially as entrepreneurs, but as podcasters, videographers, or whatever. Technology, again, I'm really blown away at the fact that I host this podcast, and it goes to, I think at the last check, it was like 53 different countries, right? That people listen to my podcast. I also do, I have a Roku channel on the, a TV channel on the Roku network. So I'm in like 110 countries that people can see what I'm saying, right?
Nice, yeah.
And I'm paying, this blows me away, I'm paying $21 a month to be able to go broadcast around the world through this platform. So technology is amazing, and being able to learn how to use it is the key to your success as an entrepreneur or as in any endeavor. Technology, embracing technology is the key, especially as Black folk. We've got to invest in learning how to use this technology, how to monetize that technology, and how to put our stories out there. Absolutely. So you're involved with a platform called Hopin. So tell us a little bit about that.
So Hopin is a online events platform that mimics real live events in a virtual space. So just like those events and lectureships and things I was telling you about, it has its own stage. for main presentation, keynotes, performances, things like that. It has a sessions room, so you can have breakout sessions where you can have smaller, more intimate discussions, things like that. It has a networking room, which is really cool because it puts you one-on-one, face-to-face, just like you and I are talking with somebody else around the world, and you can put whatever time limit on that. You can designate 10 minutes for people to meet, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, but it gives you a chance to meet someone else from around the world face to face, and you get to connect with them. Like literally you hit connect and it stores all the information. At the end of the event, you get a list of names of everybody you connected with at each event. There's also a expo room, which is neat also because it allows vendors and sponsors to set up a virtual booth to sell their merchandise or service or message, anything like that, just like they would at a real event. So Hopin is a very versatile platform, very different from your WebExes and Zooms and other platforms that are out there. And a lot of people are jumping on this platform. So yeah,
Now,
that's what Hopin is.
For those of you who aren't so techy, okay, so we're currently on the Zoom platform with this particular show. And so you mentioned a couple of things that are different with the Hopin platform. So this ability to have these breakout rooms and for organizations to have their booths, if you will, to sell their products. So if I'm coming in or coming to you, are you setting up, how are you setting up? For example, if I'm going to do a speaking event and I say, look, Collin, I need you to help me set this up. So give me kind of some logistics of how that would look. What would happen?
Yeah, so my company offers an online event management service.
Okay.
So we basically come in and we create, organize, and manage your event from end to end. So we take all the guesswork out of learning Hopin, out of doing things yourself. Like my team and I, we manage your event for you. So however you want to configure your event, and that's the neat thing about Hopin too, you don't have to have all these rooms. Every single event can be configured however you want to. You could just have a stage, you could just have a session, you could just literally have an expo. We've had recruiting events. We've already hosted and managed over 30 events. And I can tell you, I don't know if that's one of your questions, I can tell you how I came to start this journey also. I don't want to jump ahead of you if you was already planning on asking that. But
go ahead and share. No, really, go ahead and share.
But yeah, so going back to how I said, I'm always looking at the stage set up at these physical events. So it was the same thing. This was like right after quarantine started. I was invited to an event called Quarantine Con, and it was on Hopin. So I didn't even know Hopin was a thing. And I remember just jumping into this platform and, you know, just having that disconnection of not seeing people being locked in the house for so long. It was just so nice to see an event with thousands of people from all over the world in this event. So I remember just chatting with everybody. I remember just the presentations. I remember the networking part, connecting with people face to face. And just like the physical events, I found myself like looking at the actual layout of the platform. And I was just like, what is this platform? Like, this is really cool. Like, I want to learn more about this. So shortly after attending the event, the day 2 of the event, I did a deep dive on learning the platform. And as somebody who is tech savvy, it took me a little over a month to learn this platform. So, and I was a part of so many other Zoom meetings. So I was part of Zoom meetings where event planners wanted to know, like, hey, Collin, like, we want you to listen into this discussion with event planners, listen to their problems and see if you can come up with a solution for them. And then after the meeting, it was just kind of like I had a little smirk on my face. And it was just like, you know what, I think I might have a solution for everybody. But I was like, but I need to do more research on it. So that's when I did the deep dive on it. And like I said, it literally turned into solving one problem for one set of people to actually finding another problem while I was researching it, because I received little to no support from actual Hopin representatives as I was trying to learn it, because so many people were jumping on the platform to learn it. So they were swamped in their own right. So I really had to like do a lot of things, all the heavy lifting myself. So me and my team, we learned it together. And then after we was done learning, it was just like, you know what? your average Joe isn't going to be able to learn this in a little over a month. It took us a little over a month, and we're tech savvy. So it's like your average Joe's not going to be able to learn this platform. Two, they're not going to have the bandwidth to, really just take it in. And then three, they're not going to have the team to actually run these events. They're not going to be able to present and run the event. So it's just like from that, this service was born, where it's just like, you know what, let's just take the guesswork out of it for you. We do everything. You don't have to worry about support. You get my team. You'll get communication from us. You won't have to worry about not getting a response or getting pushed back 3-4 weeks just to talk to a representative. So it's just like we really take the stress and the load off of the client, and we manage the event for them.
So let's talk about hardware. So let's say, for example, I have a company and I want you to come out there and help me set up this event. And so I'm going to have a camera maybe in this room and maybe a camera in another room. Do you help configure that? How's that work?
Oh, there's no coming out nowhere. Everything's virtual.
Okay. Okay.
We could literally just talk you over just on a Zoom call of how to just set up on your side.
Okay.
And like I said, we've already done over 30 plus events. So we've already had clients as their whole event was nothing but recordings.
Okay.
So, we gave them guidance of, hey, just make sure you're in an open space. If it's a studio space, a 3-camera shoot, 2-camera shoot, just make sure there's adequate lighting, things like that, like this, make sure it's in this format. So it really is on the end user. And if they're 9 times out of 10, if they're booking us for an event like that, they already know how to work that equipment. They already know how to do that setup. If not, we can just provide guidance just on a basic Zoom call and just, hey, you just need a camera, just point it at this much space, make sure this many people can be captured in the shot, and, make sure you connect to this platform and da-da-da-da.
And that allows you obviously to do live streaming, the events all at the same time and all of that.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So basically you have this platform as part of your business. A service you provide is basically setting it up for folks. So all I have to do is do the event and you manage it.
Yes. And this was actually my business's pivot. So when I say the hardest thing for me was really encouraging my team that we were going to get through this, we was going to figure things out. But it was actually me convincing myself of that. It was like keeping a straight face on for them. And then as soon as I get off the call with them, it's just like, oh my God, this kind of like going back in that panic mode. I was back in unfamiliar territory. It's like, wow, I haven't felt this anxiety and this panic in a while. Because I got over that years ago. It's like, here it is coming up again, because it was a new problem, a whole different kind of a beast or animal. But like I said, within 2 weeks, it was just being introduced to that hopping platform and just always being curious and just inquisitive and learning new technologies. It was just like, let me learn about this platform. I think this will be good. Not only am I able to service my same clients before COVID, because those were event planners and small businesses, nonprofit organizations that, hire my company to, film and do production for their physical events. But it's like, now I'm turning around and helping them, because I'm helping them turn their physical events and bringing it to a virtual platform and managing it all. So yeah, this is my company's pivot, not knowing what was going to happen, but the overall response has just been, the demand has been extremely high. And what that tells me is a lot of people have a lot of great services and merchandise and messages that they need to get out to the public. And that's the most thing that I'm getting from this, is that we are providing a platform for all these great organizations to get their messages out to everyone that is in dire need of it. So it's been, like I said, it's taken off. So it's just like, I'm hiring like crazy now. Yeah. It's gone from, are we going to survive, to now we're just thriving. Now we can't, I ain't gonna say we can't keep up with the demand, but I got to hire more and more people the more events I take on.
Now, who's responsible for marketing the event? The organization, or do you do that also?
I did the marketing.
You do.
So, I have a marketer.
Okay.
I have a marketing manager. Her name is Majorca Young, and the name of her company is Majorca Digital. And she has been a rock star in that aspect, because everybody that books a call with me, I ask them how they, found me, and probably 80% of them have been saying, the Facebook ads. They're like, I was literally just sitting around my computer and I mentioned online events, and then 2 minutes later, your ad popped up in my feed. And so she really has like just configured it down to the T and made it to where, because our devices are listening to us, so she's really configured it to keywords. So when people say something specifically, our ad is shown in front of them. So yeah, there's ads out there. A lot of people lately have been coming from YouTube because I have just a tech talk. It's not even an ad, it's just a review of the Hopin platform. And then at the very end, I just mentioned, hey, we're offering an online events management service. So a lot more of these appointments are starting to come from YouTube as well. So
yeah, I think I ran across your ad on Instagram, if I remember correctly.
yep.
Yeah.
So it's the one from Facebook. So Facebook and IG are the same.
Yeah, because I saw the ad, and obviously as a marketer, my marketer myself, I was kind of intrigued by this. That sounds interesting, because I do a lot of webinars and stuff, and I said, let me just follow up. And then I said, dang, I just want to talk to the brother, man. Just talk about his platform and his business, because again, I want to showcase brothers like yourself who are doing some amazing things, and I say you are, and I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us for about an hour. So how can people find out more about you and your business?
So if y'all want to find out more about me, everything is on my website. It's collinhardeman.com. That's CollinHardeman.com. That's our website. We have our calendar on there where you can book us for our service. There's a link to all of our socials on there. So it really is just our headquarters for everything that I and my company, what we do basically.
And there will be a link underneath the video on the podcast page also. So it'll click directly to you guys. There you go. Just boom, click it and you'll be ready to go. All right, so as time winds down, I want to give you an opportunity now just to share any words of wisdom and inspiration for the brothers out there who are out there watching this video and kind of going, maybe I'd like to start a business, or maybe I'd like to be an entrepreneur, or maybe I'm just struggling with my attitude. What message do you want to send to those brothers out there right now?
So I'm an activist. I'm always trying to activate those sleep entrepreneurs out there, because it's just like I always want people to live out their purpose. And I know everybody can't be entrepreneurs. So just like I said with that tweet yesterday, employment is basically essentially someone paying you to do something for them that you won't do for yourself. Somebody didn't pour a glass of water into the ground and a company just sprouted up. That was somebody's idea. That was somebody taking initiative and following their dream, following their heart, following their passion, and they create a new industry. They create a whole niche for themselves. Then of course, work demand built up, and then they have to get workforce and everything to grow their business. So that's why all these corporations, we go to all these cities, you see these big skyscrapers and buildings like that. That's somebody's idea. So you have all these people that took the leap of faith, and it's just like there's so many things, barriers that are holding people back, especially fear. So, but now is the best time more than ever. Like there's more and more people becoming business owners and entrepreneurs right now in this time of COVID, because we're in uncharted territory. That's where entrepreneurship, like that's fertile ground for entrepreneurship. So it's just like you might find another niche, you might find a need, you might find something that solves a problem for a lot of people. But you really got to take the leap of faith. You got to believe in yourself. It's not enough to just have the passion. You got to have the execution also. You got to have the drive. You can't be easily just thwarted. You're gonna fail. Don't be afraid of failure. Failure is the necessary ingredient for success. Those are your lessons that you take to perfect it, to perfect what you did and learn from it. And then, okay, this is how I do it better. That's how you gain that confidence. So don't let those things hold you back. You have it in you. You just gotta believe in yourself, and absolutely get a mentor. You don't have a mentor, if you don't have somebody that's successful, that's already doing it, get you a mentor, somebody that can guide you and steer you in the right way. And what you will find out is 9 times out of 10, I know I've said that a lot during this podcast, but what you will find out is that it'll just be a confirmation, because your heart, I believe your heart will lead you in the right place. But when you have a mentor, somebody that's doing it, and they give you guidance, what you'll find out is that you've already done it, or you was already planning on doing it. So to you, that's an indication that, okay, I'm already on the right track. But there is that 10% where it's just like they'll steer some resources your way, they'll guide you this way, or might have you avoid some hurdles. So I know I'm going on and on. I'm on my soapbox right now, but just go for it. Just have a mentor, have the passion, have the ambition, have the execution, and really just have the stick-to-itiveness, and you will be successful. Don't be afraid of failure. It's necessary.
It's all part of the game. Well,
Yeah.
Collin, again, thank you, brother, for hanging out with us for an hour. We wish you continued success in all of your endeavors. Appreciate you sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on this podcast.
All right. This has been another episode of the Shatter the Stereotypes. So, number 1, be optimistic. Number 2, shatter the stereotypes. Number 3, live your dream. Take care. We'll see you next episode.